Dan, nice show.
No.
Okay, Dan, I know you're a busy man. I just want to ask you about your Twitter on Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I was watching Thursday Night Football. I scroll through my Twitter, and all of a sudden I see you on a Twitter run, answering people's questions, going after some people who are saying things to you. I had no idea that the 30 for 30 on Bob Knight was even running until I saw your Twitter, and then we started doing some research. You were in it literally through the whole thing. You were in that whole Bob Knight thing.
The whole thing.
The whole damn thing.
No, that's not true, because after the season, when Neil Reed, finally quit and all that, I had gone to Bowling Green. I'd gone to interview, I don't know, but basically through the whole thing, yes. But for the firing and all that stuff, and when Reed finally did quit, I was at BG. So I'd left at the end.
Todd here used to be a detective. He said that film, the practice film of the choking came from in Ohio, and he was wondering if you had any connection to it. I said no. I said no. I said Dan actually tweeted who it was, I think.
Yeah, Ron Felling, assistant coach, who it's interesting. Felling told people that he had the tape, and in fact, he told assistant athletic director. He made it very clear, to a lot of people, to don't lie. In fact, the trainer, Tim Garrow, who's still there, lied. And he called me up. He goes, "Hey, will you tell Felling not to give up that tape?" So I called him. I say, "Dumbass, don't give up that tape. What are you doing?" And, Felling was a good friend of mine, actually. And, he and Reed's dad were best of friends. And, in fact, if you watch that tape, there's a guy that walks right across in front of Neil Reed and Coach Knight as Coach Knight's grabbing him, and that's Felling, who, as I said, was the mom and dad's best friend. They were, in fact, Felling, the guy who gave up the tape, was ultimately got Terry Reed, Neil's dad, his old high school job in Lawrenceville, Illinois, which Terry screwed up. But a lot of stuff going on there, my brother.
Well, Dan, how did you feel about it? Because you were there for Neil's freshman year.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. I think I was there long, and I think maybe he left after his sophomore year. People, I'm old, man. I'm 56. I can't, I don't remember dates and years, but Neil, we knew his dad, we knew his mom. We got him jobs all the time. In fact, Neil's sister worked in our office because the family was broke. So, yeah, but I was there 2 years, with Neil, I think.
Well, mentally speaking, IU was known for mentally tough ball players. How would you rate him mentally? Did he fit in with that mold, or was he a little soft up there?
Let me put it to you this way. He was tough on the court in terms of doing what you got to understand. Now, I'm on a podcast here, and the guy died, so if you say anything even remotely negative, right, people kill you, right?
I saw you getting crushed. Yeah, I saw you getting crushed on Twitter for that. I saw you getting crushed for that.
Yeah, right? I mean, you're getting crushed. So Neil was an okay guy. I mean, the portrayal of him as a guy on an island that nobody helped or nobody protected is completely false, because, as I said, I mean, the dad's best friend is the guy staring at night grabbing the kid. You know what I mean? And so Neil was okay. I mean, he wasn't exactly he was tough on the court. They showed some things once or twice that he did, but he wasn't I don't know. It's what seemed to be a perfect match really wasn't a perfect match between Indiana and the Reed family. Let's put it that way.
How did you feel about the 30 for 30? You said on Twitter numerous times that it felt like it had a slant to it. Anybody who really knew anything refused to be a part of it, basically. Is that? Yeah, that's kind of your view?
Yeah, and Pat, you can, I think, appreciate this. The slant. I mean, they're not doing a 30 for 30 to tell the story of Bob Knight helping Ryan White. The kid from Cicero was really the first age. They're not doing a 30 for 30 to talk about him helping Landon Turner. The slant. And they asked me to be in it, and I said no. I said, look, two reasons. One, if I'm going to comment on it, I'm not letting you all edit it. And as I know a lot of you understand, Pat.
True. Yeah, because you say 10 good things, one bad thing, they're going to use the one bad thing.
True, that makes sense.
And then the other thing was, my thing is, this was all rehashed 20 years ago, or hashed out 20 years ago with specials and breaking news and interviews and Jeremy Schaff. And I told the guy, Robert Abbott, I said, why don't you just let him die? I mean, Coach Knight is living his life out in, let him live his life. He's 70-some years old. So they wanted to come in and, and I don't know. Look, I have no relationship with Coach Knight. I don't want a relationship with Coach Knight. I don't have any respect for Coach Knight. So I got really no reason to defend him. But it was like, all right, I mean, just let the guy live his life, man. You already went through all this. I'll give you one example of how, like bias we knew it was going to be. There's a picture, or there's a kind of a montage of Coach Knight yelling, and one of the things that they show is him yelling at the students behind the basket to put this sign down. Well, they make that seem like a bad thing. Well, truth of the matter is they had a profane sign. I was sitting right there. And I told them to take the sign down. It was derogatory towards a player on the other team, and this day and age it would have been considered incredibly offensive. But they put that as a negative. So, I know how that was going to go. So I didn't need to be involved.
Yep, I respect it. Well, you on the other side of the foul line, on the other foul line on the other end of the court, if you could go back in time and you were on the other side, I think the whole world's a much different place, Dan. If you're not shooting that free throw on the other side, if you're shooting it on the near side, it's a whole new world, dude.
I was actually walking, and I'm like, and then it's odd how, like, I don't remember the film like Pat, as a coach, Coach Knight and I used to watch practice film every morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I've said this for years. Once it came out, I go, I don't remember that day. Like, it doesn't, I may have left after that day to go recruiting, or the next morning to go recruiting. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I don't know how, like, when I saw the tape initially, I thought, and it was like in 1998 or whatever, I was sitting in my house at BG. I'm like, holy hell, what the, but then I started thinking, like, how did we not see that? Like, how did we not watching tape see that? But I don't know, maybe I went, I don't know, but it wasn't on any tape that we saw watching. So
you're saying that film is the first time you seeing it was when you were already out of the program. You had no idea that film even existed.
No, I knew it. I knew that Felling had told people that he has a tape of Knight, but I hadn't seen it.
Did you think the grabbing of his neck was more severe than what you had envisioned when you actually saw it, or did you think it wasn't as bad?
I don't really. I don't really know. I remember, like, talking to Neil after it, and this may be weird to people, and people don't understand this. But Neil Reed didn't quit like the next day. Neil Reed actually never quit Indiana. Neil Reed left Indiana later on at the end of the year when Coach Knight made up like a fake team vote that said, the players wanted Reed and Andre Patterson off the team.
So petty, by the way. That's one of the most petty things I've ever heard in my entire life.
I remember I was at Bowling Green. I was either interviewing for the job or just got done, and I got a call from one of the guys saying, "Hey, you're not going to believe this." And I'm like, "What?" They go, "Well," so that's when Neil, like,
oh my God.
Yeah, we all voted. Hey, we all voted, by the way.
This isn't me letting you go. It's your team letting you go.
Yeah, it's not. I just want to let you know, we took a little vote here around the locker room. You weren't here. It was kind of like a Survivor thing. You ever seen that? Everybody wrote it down and put it in a little barrel.
Hey, that's when Neil, like, people think that they see Knight grab him, right? And they say, oh, he quit the next day. No, I'm telling you, and this is going to sound incredibly weird, Felling and the dad were such good friends that, it just didn't bother. Like, I went in the locker room after, and it was, I'm sure the players talked about it when they went amongst themselves, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like any big deal, and people can say, well, that's messed up. Well, I don't know, but I know this. Neil did not quit. And Neil, but again, the idea that Neil didn't have any support or anybody, his dad was in communication. It stayed at Felling's house damn near half the time, the other assistants, so he had plenty of people there to help him out. But, that's when Neil decided. See, people say, oh, man, he grabbed him and then, he quit the next day. No, not even, no. I'm telling you, I don't even think he ever quit.
Many of us here in Indiana had, when that first happened, and they released that. Even once we saw that, I was on the bandwagon of Neil was lying until the video came out. But even after that, people of my age, I'm 47, we had problems with, like, our coaches did worse than that when we were in high school. You know, even when we saw it, we're like, oh, I've been thrown around way worse than that. That doesn't make it right. It still makes it wrong, and you definitely should be punished for it.
Whole different world, though.
Yeah, but I remember we were like, well, what's the big deal? Okay, that happens, and then you play better, and it doesn't happen again.
Did you hey, Dakich, did you hear Tua? Did you hear Tua Tagovailoa?
Yeah.
About his dad getting him the belt? The dad, if he didn't play well, he got the belt?
Yeah.
I'm surprised his dad's not in jail right now.
I said on the air one time, I was doing my son's game at Michigan. I said on the air, I'll tell you what, he makes another turnover, his ass is sleeping in the garage. And, like, people lost their mind on me, right? I mean, because, we're all, the social justice warriors came out in full throng, right? Like, you can't say that. I go, well, yeah, I can. I just did. I mean,
Hey, let's talk about your style.
It's funny because I had a football player at Indiana that played for Bill Mallory who was, like, beloved. He said, hey, he goes, come on, there got to be more to that. He goes, I saw Mallory take face guards, put guys in the dirt. 70-year-old man got in a fist fight with the nose tackle his last practice after he'd already been fired. A fist fight. I'm with you guys. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right at all. And, in fact, I went nose to nose with Knight telling him what a jerk he was for doing. But at the end of the day, a lot of people that watched that said, what? Right? Like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different world, man. Right. That inside look is a whole different world. I know you got a show to deal with, but I know you got a show that's about to go on. It's going to be a nice show. It's going to be a nice show. It's going to be
a nice show, man.
It's going to be
We're going to get on a little bit of a roll here. Things will be good. Don't worry about it.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this is kind of your thing, by the way. Your thing. On Thursday night, it was your thing times 1,000, by the way. I'm so happy that you were right in the middle of that 30 for 30.
People killed me. People crushed me. They said, well, if you were there, why didn't you do like and that's the one thing. Like, people think, and I get it, but people think that Neil didn't have,
allies,
a support, or nobody helped him. Hell, like I said, man, his dad's best friend was our assistant coach.
Hey, what school?
The guy standing right there in front.
What school? What school hates you the most? What school hates you the most, Dan? And why?
I didn't feel much love out of Louisville the other day.
You broke some news. You broke some news. Well, you broke some Louisville news.
I broke some news that really wasn't accurate-ish, even close. But okay.
Hey, that happens, man.
I don't think West Virginia, 16 years later, your boys are still on my ass every time my face pops up on TV. So they're not big. Michigan State chanted about 12,000 a couple of years ago, we hate Dakich.
True story.
It's actually my ringtone now. So.
What school was it that had said a guy was going to send a sniper in?
Oh, that was Iowa. That was a state trooper. Hey, he said, if anybody's in Carver Hawkeye and you got a gun, shoot Dakich in the head.
Oh.
And then he called me to apologize. I'm like, he goes, well, I got a big personality. I said, yeah, man, that's all great, but shoot me in the head.
Dakich, you as a human are one of my favorite characters of all time. I want to let you know that, and I appreciate you so much for joining us.
Of course, man, of course. Hey, tell them about our trip from the airport to frickin' Bristol. Tell your boys about our little trip the other day, a couple of weeks ago. It was good times, good times.
Dakich was my chauffeur from the airport to Bristol because I didn't have a car. So I hopped in there. I thought we were in the wrong city a couple of times, had a little bit of a moment. It was tough.
Hey, my man, we're in Hartford, Connecticut. Hartford, frickin' Connecticut. And there's like a gym that's the size of my head, and it says like the Small Town Garden Gym. My man looks at me and says, that where the Celtics play?
It was an arena. It was an arena. Have a little respect.
I'm like, dumbass. I go, that would be Boston. We're 100 miles away, but good guess. Nice. My man is beautiful here.
Hey, have a great show. I appreciate you.
Is this where Bob and Tom is?
No, I don't know. Are you on Bob and Tom right now?
No, I'm just asking you. I'm being funny. You didn't get the joke. Never mind.
Oh, that's on me. That's on me. Hey, your show will go better than mine. He hung up.